Welcome to another edition of Perspectives from the Sky. This is Leo Knighton Tallarico, and it is the 29th of July, 2023, and I'm accompanied by the lovely Deborah Knighton Tallarico. And before very long, we're gonna turn this show into a spiritual renaissance show, um, which is something that Deborah and I created a long time ago, way back when, and it's us together with our work together with the mission together of new consciousness, um, in a new age, in a new earth. And we want to make that what the title of the show is. But, back when we were in Santa Fe, we called it Renaissance Radio Hour. We were pretty close to it back then. Um, so now we're going to do that in September. So we're actually going to take off some time. This will be the last show we do until September. We're taking off August. August, we're doing some traveling, some vacationing, and then in September we'll come back probably as early as September. It'll either be September 2nd or 9th. We'll come back. We'll let you all know. Second will be the Labor Day weekend, right before the Monday, and the 9th will be right after that. So we'll decide. Deb will decide sometime between now, or sometimes while we're on vacation, we'll decide when we're going to actually do that. So today's going to be a shortened show. I'm going to talk for about 15, 20 minutes. Deborah will be doing the same. Um, and then, like I said, our next show will be in September, and we'll let everybody know. So, God, everybody's been going through so much. Clients and the class I teach, and Venus went retrograde last Saturday, and it's been really a tough time for a lot of people during this Venus retrograde. And you can see the world is having a tough time also. So, what we represent on this show is the transformation of consciousness into this Aquarian age, which has already started. Started back winter solstice of 2020. And it's been some rough sledding on individual personal lives and also out in the world. Some rough sledding for people. So we're planning on getting people to be a part of the transformation of consciousness. Remember, yeah, we feel fear sometimes, but if you let fear take over, you're going to be going in the wrong direction. You're going down into depression, down into bad places. So whatever help you need to not be fearful, too fearful, or depressed, the better. Remember, if you've got fear in your heart, life comes at you from out there. If you've got love in your heart, you create a lot of what your life is going to be. So the work toward love in your heart is what we all need to do. And ways, but meditation seems to be a real solid way if it's done regularly and with intention to bring people to the right places of being connected, aligned with their higher self, with the universe, God, Goddess, whatever your word is. But that's what helps to do so. So what's going on in our world? Venus stays retrograde now until September 3rd. So put your seatbelt on. That's what a lot of people have been doing. Venus retrograde's not been easy. Remember, Venus retrograde, then Mercury's going to go retrograde too. Mercury will go retrograde on the 23rd of August and stay that way until the 15th of September. So that's a lot of relating and communicating energy that's going to be either in retrograde or going to be in retrograde. And then from the 23rd of August until the 3rd of September, both Mercury and Venus will be retrograde. So that'll be challenging because they're both about communicating and relating. So with Venus retrograde, remember, oftentimes people from the past come back into your life, in your dreams. Pay real close attention to your dreams now with Venus retrograde. Real close attention. Get a journal out there. Write down your dreams. Look for the signs and the symbols. Get some help with people who know how to help with dreams. But dreams will be important to look at. Also, a lot of times we just in our waking memories, people come back to us from the past relationships. And sometimes actually in the flesh. You get people from your past come back to you so you remember what those relationships were like. And remember, underneath it all is changing relationship patterns. Don't get me wrong now. Venus retrograde doesn't mean that it's all difficult and challenging. In fact, a lot of wonderful things can happen with Venus retrograde. Remembering relationship events and times that were nice, that were loving. But also, a big part of Venus retrograde is to look at the patterns that we have in relationship that we want to transform and change. And that we can do during this Venus retrograde time. What else is on board? Well, we've got a full moon coming up. The full moon will be on Tuesday. It's coming Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday, 30th, 31st, the 1st of August. And that full moon will be at 11:32 a.m. Pacific and will be at 2:32 p.m. Eastern. There, I just saw a mouse run across. There it goes. Is that a mouse from my past? Is that like a relationship past with that same mouse in the past life? Uh, anyway, there it was, dashing across the room. Um, so yes, 2:32 p.m. Eastern, 11:32 a.m. Pacific. Full moon. What is this full moon? All full moons, remember, are sun in a sign and the moon in the opposite sign. So in this case, the sun will be at 9+ degrees of Leo, and the moon will be at 9+ degrees of Aquarius at, again, 11:32 a.m. Pacific and 2:32 p.m. Eastern. And then I see Judy Ann. I don't know whether she's like living in England now or she's living still here on the West Coast. But I was going to say in England, it'd be another 4 hours, I guess, later. So it'd be like a 6:32 or 7:32 p.m. for Europe. So what's this full moon like? And it's going to have Jupiter kind of in it. Jupiter will be square this full moon. Ah, Judy Ann, you're in London now. Cool. Nice to hear. Jupiter and Taurus will be square this full moon. So you'll have Sun in Leo. Remember, this is Leo time of year. So just that alone is time for, have some fun. This has been a rough time for a lot of people. Go out, have some fun, do some creative things. Do what you can to open up your heart to enjoy life. That's a good part of Leo time of year. Yeah, it's true that, sometimes Leo can get into a lot of ego issues too, but that's not the nature of Leo. The sun is the ruling entity of Leo, and the sun shines brightly. I don't think it ever says to itself, wow, I am shining a light to all the people on all these planets, and I'm giving warmth and light to all. And I'm really proud of myself. I think I'm a great guy or a woman. I don't think the sun has the capability of doing that, but people do. But my point is that the natural way of Leo being is shining from the heart. It's beams of light and fun and joy and letting all people feel it that are around it, just like the sun does. So that's Sun in Leo, and it'll be opposed by Moon in Aquarius, and it'll be a little over 9 degrees of Leo and Aquarius. And so Aquarius is more about in the mind. It's about looking outside the box kind of mind, but it's still in the mind, in the brain, in the head, in the logical part of things. And so that'll be something to work through is the difference between your heart and your intuition on the one hand and your logical mind on the other hand. Some other ways that they're different is, let's say both Leo and Aquarius are out looking to buy a car. Leo sees the fancy red sports car and goes, wow, that's my car. And Aquarius takes a look at it and goes, what kind of mileage does it get? What's it doing for our environment? So Aquarius is much more socially conscious. Leo is more, again, fun and in the heart. Nothing wrong with either one. They are different from one another. That's an important thing to remember. Difference. Remember, we're moving into the age of Aquarius, which is about diversity within unity. So something that's different than the way that you think the world should be isn't necessarily bad. It's just different than the way you are and the way you see life. We all need to get into that space of letting in and accepting, at least accepting, at least tolerating those that are different than us so that we can live in this diversity within unity world. So important. Take a look. Look at the United States and the culture wars we have. Look at the world. You know, go out to Ukraine and Russia and the United States and NATO and everything. It's like, you know, what's different for me needs to be beaten. I need to be better than. I need to defeat that which is different than me. That's not the Aquarian age. It's we're all different. It's more like an orchestra. Every instrument in the orchestra is different than the other. It stays to the integrity of what it is, every single instrument. But when it comes together, the unity is beautiful. The music is beautiful. And this is what we're capable of as a human family. But right now, we got a lot of stuff to go through before we're going to get to that spot. Truly. The last Pluto return will be in October for the United States. Pluto in the United States natal chart from July 4th, 1776, sits in the second house in Capricorn. And for the last 2 years, we've had this Pluto return. You know, in your life, you'll never have a Pluto return. Pluto has a 248-year cycle. You'll never have a Pluto return. You'll never have a Neptune return. That's 165 years. You likely have a Uranus return. That's 84 years. Certainly Saturn return, 28 to 30 years. Chiron return, 50 years. Jupiter return, 12. Mars return, 2 years. Venus, a year and a half. Mercury, every few months. And the sun, 1 year revolving around every single year. That's its cycle. So the Pluto return does not happen in individual life. It is happening in the life of the United States, because Pluto has approximately 248 years that it makes a cycle. So there we are. So what's Pluto? Pluto in the United States chart, sitting in his second house, is the military-industrial complex. Remember, Dwight Eisenhower said military-industrial complex, if we let that get really big in this country, we're going to lose of the people, by the people, for the people, and our freedoms. And guess what? That's been happening. Military-industrial complex has turned into military across the globe, run by the United States and NATO, and multi-corporations running our world, and big government. So with Pluto return, it's going to be a transformation of that military-industrial complex. And that's why you see these wars that are starting to heat up. You know, we're having problems on the inside with the culture war. It's pretty serious, the culture war. It's like, you know, it's not like my yin yang up there where the opposites are close to each other in unity. Those opposites from the culture war are at war with each other. And that's what's happening out in the greater world too. You know, Ukraine and NATO are on one side of things, and you got Russia, China, Iran, and others on the other side of things. The new BRICS, BRICS, which is a competition now to NATO and Europe. And so it's building up to a world war, which will likely happen next year. Could blow up in this year, but more likely next year. Because next year we have a solar eclipse, total solar eclipse, new moon in Aries on the 8th of April next year. That's going to be super powerful because its route is across the United States. And where the route is of an eclipse has a lot to do with where the events are going to happen. And then Jupiter next year will be stationing at 21 degrees of Gemini, late summer, early autumn next year. And 21 degrees of Gemini is where the Mars is in the United States chart. Now, I've tracked it to World War I, World War II, Korean War, and when something happens like that, like Jupiter stopping and changing directions right at to the minute where the United States Mars is, things happen. I do believe in miracles, and I do believe that people can change their minds, and I do believe that people can change their consciousness so that we can have peace. It could happen, and this won't happen. What I see coming. But right now, the way things are rolling, that's where we're headed. We need a change of consciousness on a large scale for all of this to shift. If it doesn't shift, then this is a necessary dark night of the soul that our human family is going to need to go through in order to rid ourselves of the old ways, like us versus them consciousness that is against that yin yang symbol and gross fear running our lives. We need love in our hearts. We need love and truth. The universe is run that way. Why can't the human family run that way? Love and truth run this universe, and we need to have that running our human family too. So that's a lot to go on over the next couple of years. And I know you're all up for it because I know the people that are listening to this show are people that work on their consciousness, work on their heart, work on looking for truth with an independent mind, work for looking for love from their hearts. So that's the week up ahead. Leo, Sun in Leo, Moon in Aquarius, full moon, Jupiter in Taurus will intensify it a bit, but I don't think horribly. And Venus stays retrograde. We're going to turn it over to Ms. Deborah now. I think she's ready. Deborah, nod if you're ready. You are ready. Okay. Here comes Deborah, and I'm going to skedaddle. There she is.
Hey, everybody. Good to
How are you?
see you.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
That's good to hear. I'm gonna leave the stage.
Okay. And you'll come back at the end.
Yeah, please, let me open the door for me to come back at the end. And the floor is yours, hon. Take care.
Okay. So, hey, everybody. Today, as Leo said, we're getting closer to the full moon. Hey, Judy Ann. Good to see you here. And everybody else who's here and listening to later. So today, what I'm going to talk about, Leo already talked about the full moon. I might just add a couple things, but I wanted to talk about just a little bit about Venus retrograde, but from a different perspective, as Venus is making her shift into a whole new energy. And so I wanted to talk about that for a little while because Venus is going to be retrograde for 44 days this time, from, as Leo said, from July 22nd, which was last Saturday, till September 3rd. So, but what I wanted to share was within that 44 days, for 16 of those days, Venus will still be in the evening sky. And for those of you that love Venus like I do, she will only be in the evening sky now until next Sunday, August 6th. Then she will disappear from the evening sky. So this week, really take the time to connect with Venus in the evening sky at the end of her cycle. So she's ending this passing, completing 19-month Venus cycle as she's retrograde. And as she's finishing, she's in the Soul Star Chakra Gateway, the last gateway in the 19-month cycle. in her ascent from the underworld. She went through her morning star phase for 7 or 8 months, then her underworld phase where she wasn't visible, but she was with the sun. And now she's been rising up, ascending through the gateways. And so we're at the Soul Star Chakra Gateway, which I believe I talked about last time, which is that gateway to our connection with the divine and spirit, and where our soul kind of comes in through into our body. So it's a very spiritual time with Venus, with the gateway of the Soul Star Chakra. And also think about, the 40 days and 40 nights. Well, this time it's 44, which is a master number. It's really a time with Venus retrograde for these 44 days to really be reflective and go inward. And I know for myself and others, like as Leo was saying, this hasn't been necessarily an easy time lately. And I can attest to that just within myself. I feel myself going through a lot of inner searching, inner reflection, and looking at some old issues. So I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit because there's quite a few things that are going on the next few weeks that are all connected with that. So let me finish with the 44 days. So Venus will be just in the evening sky for the first 16 days of the retrograde period. So on the 6th of August, she will not be in the evening sky anymore. Sad. I'm sad. I'm going to miss her in the evening sky. I've been so enjoying her brightness there on the western horizon. But soon she will be rising in the morning sky. So she will be not visible for 12 days. Where she'll be close to the sun, and she'll be going through her shifting, her metamorphosis into the new energy and the new cycle. Because then on August 19th, she actually rises as the morning star. So she will be rising very early in the morning, like between 5 and 6 a.m. On August 9th, the first time, and she begins her descent through the gateways as she joins. So whenever there's a gateway, that gateway won't be right away, but she'll be retrograde for 16 days as the morning star before Venus goes direct. And then I think it's about a week later or so is the first gateway in her descent, where the waning moon will conjunct Venus in the very early morning sky. So that's something to look forward to, because Venus in the morning sky is also so beautiful and amazing. It's just sometimes we're not all up that early. So she's beginning her transformation now from the Capricorn energy, which was the last cycle we were in, was that oversold by Capricorn. Because the last time Venus was retrograde was in Capricorn, with Venus in Capricorn. And so she's shifting from that wise woman, wise wisdom keeper energy of Capricorn into the Leo energy. So the new 19-month cycle that begins on August 19th will be with that overtone of the Leo energy. So there's going to be a huge focus on, healing our hearts during this new Venus cycle that's going to start mid-August. Really healing our hearts, our inner child, learning to become playful and creative, and maybe healing issues around our creativity and our self-expression. And also, Leo has to do with coming into our sovereignty, our divine sovereignty, our kingdom and queendomness inside, being on our inner throne. So that's going to be a theme for this new cycle of Venus that's going to be starting soon, and everything to do with Leo energy, like really shining your light from your heart light, all issues around the heart and healing the heart and shining from your heart, expressing from your heart. So that's what I wanted to share about Venus. Now, this week, so as Leo said, Tuesday is the full moon. And I always think of the Leo Aquarius full moon as a balance between shining my light and how does it serve the greater whole, because it's not just Leo shining its light. I think Leo talked about this, but it's how does this serve the greater whole, the community at large. So on that Tuesday this week, August 1st, on the full moon is also considered lunar Lammas. And then the next day, August 2nd, is the actual day of Lammas. I always think of this whole week period is the sacred time of Lammas. And because actually the midpoint isn't till the end of the week. So what it is what is Lammas? And some of you probably already know and celebrate Lammas that are listening to this. But Lammas was also known as Lunasa, after the god Lugh, an ancient Celtic god who was a god of light and the sun. He was a son of the sun and a god of light. And so Lammas is the midpoint in the northern hemisphere between our summer solstice and our autumn equinox. Now, in the southern hemisphere, it's actually the time of Imbolc, where it's the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So they're celebrating that, the first stirrings of spring, as we in the northern hemisphere are celebrating the first harvest. So Lammas is considered the first harvest festival. It's where a lot of grains are being harvested now, corn. In the Native American tradition, this is the time of the sacred corn dances in honor of the corn maidens and the corn mothers. And it's really quite an amazing celebration. I had the honor to attend a Lammas ceremony, actually a corn dance in at a pueblo in New Mexico years back, which was really amazing. And it was just these just most beautiful dances, the Native Americans in their regalia, just celebrating the first harvest, honoring the corn, the grains, and having a huge feast in honor of this time of the first harvest. So it's a time to actually reflect on what were the seeds you planted in the spring, and how did they start growing towards the summer solstice? And now at this midpoint, what are you starting to reap and harvest from those seeds that were planted, knowing that there's 2 more harvests still to go? But this is the first harvest. So we pause and we reflect, okay, what did I plant in the spring? What were those seeds? Some of those seeds you might see actually literally in your garden, and some of them just, metaphorically. What were your seed intentions at the equinox, at the spring, the beginning of spring, and maybe even at Imbolc? And what has started to come to fruition or maturation of those seeds? And what is still to come? What are your visions for the next harvest? At the equinox is the second harvest, this autumn equinox, and then the third harvest is around Halloween or Hallowmas time, when the pumpkins and the gourds. It's a third harvest. So this is a time to first give thanks, time of great gratitude, deep gratitude for all the abundance in your life, the nourishment, giving thanks for the food that sustains us alive, the fruits, the berries, the vegetables that are growing, the grains, the corn, all those things. Just really give thanks, and that harvesting in your own life. And so really a time to celebrate abundance in your life. And I just wanted to say, I also attended this was many, many years ago, this amazing Lunasa Lammas ceremony at Stonehenge, not Stonehenge, sorry, near Stonehenge, actually, in New Hampshire. Um, and it was just, it blew me away. And it was an enactment of the sun god, because in the ancient Lunasa ceremonies, Celtic ceremonies, the sun god, it's an honoring of the sun god dying because he's giving all his light now to the crops, to the grains, and the grains are getting harvested. So there's a giving away of and a letting go of that energy and that death of the sun god Lugh to, the harvest, and as the days are growing shorter towards the equinox. So it's a time to really feel that transfer of the life force into all the food and the harvesting and the abundance. So it's really a powerful time this week. And when it's a wonderful time to have a feast with your friends, make bread. In fact, lammas, the word lammas means loaf mass. And I used to make a special lammas bread every lammas, and now I've been making cornbread. So it's a great time to just do something like that to really honor, this time of year of the harvest, and just with a big feast. And I think the other thing about lammas is it's a wonderful time to focus on prayers for the nourishment of all beings, because as we know, not everybody has access to all that we have access to here, of the harvest. And it's a time to, really pray that all the earth has abundance for all the people, and to really focus on that, the nourishment of all. That's what Lammas is all about, really celebrating that, praying for that for all beings, and abundance of the harvest all across our earth. And we know there's been floods and fires. And so it's time to really focus on, those prayers and whatever we can do to help in those ways with people that may not have what we have. So it's a time to really pray and work towards sustainability on our earth. And we're reminded of it now. And the last thing I wanted to talk about before we end our show today is about the Lionsgate portal. So many of you may have heard of the Lionsgate portal, or at least the Lionsgate. So on July 25th, in the Mayan calendar, it was considered the day out of time. And it's the transition between the old Mayan calendar and the new Mayan calendar. Hey, Kathy, we miss you too. And so that's the day out of time. And then July 26th, which was this Wednesday, I believe. Yes, it was this Wednesday. So we just had the day out of time, the transition between the two years, Mayan years. And so on the 26th of July, on Wednesday, was the beginning of the new galactic new year in the Mayan calendar. So, and also this Lionsgate portal is all part of it. So the Lionsgate portal is from July 26th through August 12th, with a peak in there of August 8th, which is what's a lot of people think of as a Lionsgate, but it's kind of like a peak. And so on July 26th, what marks the beginning of the Lionsgate and the new year is Sirius actually rises with the sun that day. And in ancient Egypt, it's a very important, powerful time because it signals the rise of the Nile and the bringing in of more abundance and fertility of the land, and very much connected with Lammas time of year. So, and it's a time when during this whole period of the Lion's Gate, it's a period where Sirius is going to be really strong because it rose with the sun, and it aligns with the pyramids in Giza, um, with Orion's belt and Sirius. And so we'll be able to start seeing Sirius in the sky again now. And, Sirius is considered our spiritual sun. So during this whole portal is also a time of great healing from July 26th through August 6th. It's a time to receive spiritual downloads, spiritual information. It's an amazing time to be more reflective, as also Venus is retrograde, to really go within, to receive, open your heart with that Leo Venus, really open your heart to receive whatever galactic and spiritual information or guidance that you need, wisdom. But it's also known, this time period is also a time to release old burdens, to do and ancient soul wounds, to break out of old boxes, to do deep healing of your heart and your inner child, and to also experience the opening, spiritual opening of your third eye, and with the soul star chakra, opening too, in the gateways of Venus. So it's really a powerful, potent time to, like I said, heal. And with Venus retrograde, look at any relationship patterns with yourself, how you relate with yourself, how you treat yourself, also how you relate and treat others and Mother Earth and all life. So it's that time of reflection on our relationship. And in this portal, Lionsgate portal, things may come up to be healed. And I can attest that since Wednesday, a lot of things have been coming up inside of me on a deep emotional level to be healed and to be looked at again. And so, use this time to take your sacred essences and elixirs and anoint yourself with oils and meditate as much as you can and connect with Mother Earth, connect with Sirius. I don't know when we'll be able to see Sirius in the sky. We should be able to now, connect with Venus before she leaves the evening sky, just really contemplate, open to receive the divine blessings, and also this chance for profound healing of old wounds, old burdens, just really do release. So, this whole period to some kind of summarize everything, this whole period during Venus retrograde is really potent this year, even more than usual, because it's happening. Venus retrograde is happening to fall during this time of the Lion's Gate and this transition into the Leo energy. So it's super potent. So, and then there was one more thing I just wanted to share. So we entered as we go through this gateway, we enter the new Mayan year. And this new Mayan year is the white overtone wizard. And it's actually the energy in the ancient Mayan calendar. It's called Ish, which is jaguar heart. And I just wanted to read, I know I'll be done in a minute, Lee. I know you're eager to come back on, but I just wanted to share a couple things about this new Mayan year, the energies. And I'm going to just share a little bit from one of my favorite oracles, which is the Mayan Oracle. And it's by Ariel Spilsbury, who's one of my teachers and beloved friends, and Michael Briner. And it's just an amazing oracle. If you ever want to learn more about the Mayan energies, it's the best. So I just wanted to read a little bit about this new Mayan year. So it's connected with the jaguar heart, which is so interesting. It has a lot to do with heart knowing, alignment with divine will, with the magician energy. That's why it's the white wizard. and then the number overtone has to do with the number. It also is connected with shaman, jaguar, night seer, priest, torchbearer, and magic. And the it helps us. It's a time to um, connect the divine will with our essence self, and to be transparent, and to allow magic to just come through without having to create it ourselves. And I wanted to read some words of wisdom from this Mayan oracle about this. Now, if you read our newsletter, if you want to sign up for a newsletter, you can on my website or Leo's. But I just want to read, because I'm going to be writing about this in the next couple days. But I just want to read this little passage from the Mayan oracle. So Ish reminds you to align your will with that of the divine, and to look inside, not outside, for your answers. Through the lens of integrity, examine your motivations and actions. Through the lens of heart knowing, guide, direct, and align your intentions. Think with your heart. So this is so aligned with the Leo new Venus cycle too. Act as a torchbearer for the light. Allow yourself to be danced in divine innocence as a channel for the highest magic. Step into self-empowerment. When you align with what gives you joy, expressing your beauty and power, your energy naturally expands to include more of who you are. Nothing and no one outside yourself can give you real power. Empower yourself by directly addressing the situation at hand. Act with integrity, and magical outcomes will naturally blossom. So that's going to be the energy of this new year. It's a magical energy, connecting with our sacredness, aligning our will with our souls. So that's it for right now.
Thank you, Deb.
Yes.
Thank you, Deb. I saw Kathy there too. Kathy, nice to hear from you. So you write something in the chat line. Also, I wanted to mention just one thing real quickly too. Oh, you're welcome, Judy. Just this last week, there was a congressional hearing on UFOs. They call them UAPs now with the government, and it was like unbelievable because it's all mainstream now. Here are all these mainstream people in our Congress listening to them and giving them credence about seeing these objects in the sky that are doing things that they admitted, the men that were on admitted, there's no way that we have the technology to have done the speeds that are moving across the sky. And another man was on who was letting everybody know that the government has been holding back a lot of secrets and taking in some of the machines from other planets and stacking them up. And some actual beings are most likely a part of that too, because they talk about biologics are kept also. So it's in our mainstream now. And it's only a matter of time before something happens over the next couple of years that's going to be worldwide known as far as UAPs, UFOs, and extraterrestrials. That's coming our way. Demeshka, you're welcome, Demeshka.
Very, very significant. And, more and more people are talking about their encounters with other beings, and that we need the assistance now of those other beings. So it's really powerful that they had this hearing.
Well, I think that's important what you just said about the other beings, because it's been noted by people that are in the military that a lot of times when nuclear actions are being taken at nuclear power plants or with nuclear weapons that are being stored, that when these things come into the spotlight, that there's more sights of the UFOs. So I think you're right when you say that we're on the verge of some really difficult military things out in the world, and a lot of people believe that the ETs are going to be here when that happens.
And I would
Believe it or not, but I think it's quite possible.
I think of them as the star beings, and more people. Oh my gosh, so many people are connecting with their star families now,
Yeah,
their own star origins. I mean, it's like everywhere now. I mean, and a lot of the, even a lot of the goddess energies, ascended. There's so many people that are really connecting with these larger energies that are going to help us get through whatever we're going through on the earth. And
exactly.
the ETs or star beings are a big part of it, and they're here
Yeah.
already. They're here already.
Right,
So,
right.
just opening ourselves to that. So I just wanted to say, if anyone wants to reach me and Leo, pretty soon we'll have our new website, I guess, probably in the fall. But I can be reached at Elelia, which is Elia, which is my spiritual name, at Gaia Sophia Temple of the Heart. And you can also visit my website, GaiaSophiaTempleoftheHeart.com. And soon I'm going to be launching my new mystery school and a lot of new work, which I'm really excited about. And then you can reach Leo at Solus, SOLUS, at AOL.com.
SOUL. Yes.
SOULU. Did I leave the U out?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. SOULUS at AOL.com. And his website is leoknightontallarico.com. And Leo has a weekly blog that comes out every Saturday. And you can also connect with that. And if anyone would love to receive our newsletter, we have a wonderful newsletter called Spiritual Renaissance that comes out, probably every couple of weeks, sometimes once a week, depending on what's going on in the cosmos and on the earth. Sometimes it's more than that, but it's a wonderful newsletter, and you're welcome to sign up for free for that. And you can sign up on
Yeah.
either of our websites. I think on my website actually, and our Spiritual Renaissance website soon. So I just want to say
Thank
that
you, everybody. And we'll be back in September with this show. We're going to take August off. We're doing a little. We'll have our own Venus retrograde going on because we're going to visit family.
we're
So
visiting.
that we don't see all the time. So we'll be doing our own Venus retrograde during that time. And
We
then
will do.
yeah, we will. And then we'll have our show back in September with everybody. So take care, everyone. We love you, and thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you in a month.
We
Take
love
care.
you, and have a wonderful month of August through the Lions Gate, Venus retrograde, and everything that's going on. Just have really use this time to go within and to really and celebrate too. Have fun with friends and let yourself release whatever you no longer need. So we love you, as Leo
Take
said.
care, everybody.
See
Bye
you soon.
bye.
Bye bye.